The grandsons did that on the garden.
Okay,
I fell into the piano.
this is our first go at YouTube Live.
Bear with us.
All right. Good evening. This is our first ever barn talk.
But we're not in a barn
We're not in the barn.
yet.
We're building a barn that has no electricity, and that is why we're not in the barn. We're beside the telephone pole. I am Sam Redfern. This is Pickles, Jessica, my wife, my lovely wife. She's making sure I read it correctly. It's almost like she typed the notes.
I did not.
We have 3 children. They are 17, 14, and 3. Outside of being a farmer, rancher, everything else we are starting a new ministry, and it is called His Show Team. Small plug, you can follow us on all the social medias. Mainly what we want to do is equip everyone with the ability to do what God called them to do, no matter what your age is, from whether you're 3 or 103. We want you to be doing what God called you to do. So that is where we're at. We have a whole lot more of equipment.
It's our first one.
It's hot, and this is our first one, and we're trying to figure it out. So tonight we are going to talk about the book of Ephesians. I think it's important. The kids going back to school. Some kids went back to school last week. Our kids are all going back to school this week. So it is important for us to make sure that they are in the right place, getting ready to go back to school. So tonight we're going to talk about the book of Ephesians, which was written by the Apostle Paul, a man who actually used to persecute Christians. He was a murderer. Essentially, he went around murdering Christians. That was his job. And then he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, and he went the complete opposite direction and became a follower of Jesus. And he was used by God to preach the gospel. The same gospel that he was trying to stop. And he made disciples. He planted churches, and he wrote 13 books of the New Testament. The book of Ephesians was written 60 AD, around 60 AD. We're not 100% sure when it was actually written, but around 60 AD. Ephesians was written to the church of a city called Ephesus. It was a very large, bustling city. It was a seaport on the Mediterranean Sea, and it is the modern day country of Turkey. Paul wrote this letter to the church there to teach them sound doctrine, and then how to live out that doctrine in the church and in everyday life. We're going to be in Ephesians chapter 2, and we are going to jump straight into this letter. Paul is unpacking for the church here what their life was like before they came to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ here. So
It was a good little background.
there you go. So she's going to read the verses here.
Okay. Verse number 1. And you were dead. Sorry. And you were dead in your trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who now works in the sons of disobedience.
Hello.
among whom also we all once conducted ourselves in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, just as the others. But God, who is rich in mercy, because of his great love that he had for us, made us alive with the Messiah, even though we were dead in trespasses. You are saved by grace.
We're going to go back and we're going to look at 3 points. No, the first one in the first verse, and you were dead in your trespasses and sins. We experience confusion because we are spiritually dead. The verse describes humanity's pre-salvation condition. Spiritually dead indicates a complete separation from God and an inability to save yourself, while trespasses and sins represent active disobedience. The meaning of dead in the original Greek, being dead or nikros, describes a state of complete lifelessness or separation from God. Just as a physically dead corpse cannot respond to the physical world or help itself, spiritually dead individuals are entirely unresponsive to God. It highlights here that humanity is not just sick or wounded by sin, but spiritually lifeless, and essentially in need of a miracle to be made alive. Trespasses, this translates to stepping over a line. Most of us know what do not trespass means. Don't go over the line. Don't make a false step. It highlights a deliberate deviation here from God's standard. God's standard, of course, is perfection. Like we were made perfect. We deviated from that, and that is a trespass. Sins is this originally referred to an archer missing a mark. We typically don't look at sins and think of it in the form of archery, but that was originally what it was for. The term archer or missing your mark. So you're supposed to hit the center, the little red dot in the center of the bullseye, and if you miss that mark, that's your sin. And so it represents the failure to hit God's target. That's what we're seeing here. It's God's target is absolute righteousness and perfected holiness. The core here is in chapter 2, verse 1, establishes humanity's desperate need for a savior. However, this verse is only the beginning of Paul's larger thought here. Being spiritually dead prevents us from knowing who God made us to be, and it causes confusion of who we are. Verse 2 and 3 says, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who now works in the sons of disobedience, among whom also we all once conducted ourselves in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, just as the others. One of the big things in these 2 and 3 describes humanity's condition of salvation. Paul explains that people spiritually walked or lived by following the ungodly culture of the world, or obeying Satan, which it uses the words prince of the power of the air, and indulging their own sinful flesh and thoughts, which made them naturally deserving of God's wrath. So there's 3 different things that we have to see. it's three distinct influences, I guess. We have the course of this world, the culture, the everything you see on social media, the news, the peer pressures that we have. It's the prevailing ungodly mindset and the value system of human society operating separate from God. It involves falling in line with societal norms, peer pressure, and even the cultural trends that reject biblical truth. I'm going to be the first to tell you that there are politicians who straight up are leading people away from God. I mean, that is an absolute fact. They proclaim Christianity, and what they are saying is a lie. And I believe it is important that we seek out what we what what we know to be truth and what we know to be factual in culture, and make sure we are addressing those norms correctly. Verse or the second one that he addresses is the spiritual influence. He identifies this ruler as the prince of the power of the air, um, Satan, and what we forget about Satan is how beautiful he was, or how easy it was for him to talk to you. How he's a car salesman. He's good at his job. Like he knows what to say and how to say it and how to present it, and he's good at what he does on purpose. The term air in this verse points to the invisible realm where Satan and these demonic forces operate. Paul points out that Satan actively works in the sons of disobedience, a biblical phrase for all who reject God and choose to follow a rebellious way of life. And and the third one that he addresses is the passions of the flesh, um, ourselves. I mean, we love to point to, culture, and how culture causes us to do all of these bad things. Well, all of my friends were doing it, or this is what I've been seeing on TV or Facebook or this or that, and then we're like, well, Satan's been influencing me, Satan's been attacking me. But the one we always forget about is ourselves. The I'm in control of myself. I'm the one who chose to do it. Paul pivots here from external influences to internal desires, stating that believers all once lived in the passions of our flesh. This means humanity was driven by the fallen, sinful impulses of the body and the mind rather than by the Holy Spirit. Um, Paul concludes in verse 3 because of the combined influences of all humanity was by nature children of wrath. This describes the natural fallen condition that we are born to, that is known as descendant of Adam. Um, it means that apart from Christ, humans have no shot. We are um, spiritually dead and justly subject to God's not only anger but His judgment. Um, Paul Paul uses this bleak picture in those two verses as a contrast to the glorious reality of God's grace, which he introduces immediately after. And I love how Paul didn't just stop there. Like he told you how bad it was. He told you how bad of a person you are. He told you how bad the world was, and all of those things. And then he immediately goes into verses 4 and 5. he notes that God's great mercy made believers alive in Christ. Verses 4 and 5 say, but God, who, I love how it says that. He just told you all of that, and then he says, but God. I love that. And he says, but God, who is rich in mercy because of his great love with which he loved us. Even when we were dead in trespasses, he made us alive together with Christ. By grace, you were saved. You have been saved. This is the ultimate turning point in Christian theology. The transition from a spiritual death to a spiritual life. Because of his profound love, his abundant mercy, God rescues humanity from the consequences of sin, offering an unearned salvation. And we have flies in here, and they're driving me nuts. And we have a restored spiritual life through Jesus Christ. I want to talk about some key terms and some concepts here. I mentioned a second ago that those two words, but God. I love how that marks such a dramatic shift in not just these verses, but in all of humanity. Without those two words, we're on our own. But God. Paul previously described humanity as spiritually dead and controlled by sin. But God signals that salvation is entirely God's initiative. It's not a human achievement. We want to say, well, I achieved this or I achieved that. Salvation is not an achievement. It's God's initiative. You don't achieve a gift. It's a gift. It was giving to you. Rich in mercy is another term. Mercy means not giving people the punishment and the separation from God that they deserve. God is not just slightly merciful. His mercy is abundant. We always like to say overflowing or overwhelming. Mercy is pure. It's perfect. It's more than enough. Great love is another one. The driving force behind God's mercy is his unconditional love for humanity. We tend to forget. We see all of the bad that happens in the world, whether it be the things that happen to little kids, or
the news.
We'll turn on the news and the things that you see, and it gets you so frustrated, and you're like, why do these things happen? Why does God allow this stuff to happen? It's not fair. Well, it is, though. It is fair, because our reward for salvation has never been on this earth. Our reward, that unconditional love that we always talk about, that's still coming. That unconditional love is when we are with him. I love my children always. But when they come together with me, when the 3-year-old Harper runs and jumps in my arms, it's different than when she's not with me. I don't love her more or less, but I can wrap my arms around her, and I can protect her, and I can hold her, and I can do those things. That's deep, unconditional love, and that's the love that God has for us. Dead in trespasses is another term. Before experiencing salvation, humans are considered spiritually dead, separated from God, and unable to save themselves. Um, God made us alive. Um, is another one. Through Jesus Christ, God breathes spiritual life into those who were once dead, bringing them into a restored relationship with Him. This just kind of came to me. If if we go back and we look at Adam when he was created, he God created him out of the dirt, out of the dust of the earth, and he's laying there, and God literally breathed life into him. When we get saved, God is literally breathing a new life into us, getting us to that right relationship with Him. Our life essentially is dead until that point. That new life, buried, we say buried and raised to newness with Him. We are restored to Him. Uh, I love to see a person get saved, because I know that it's not just their life on earth is going to change, but their whole eternity is going to change. They are different. The next term is grace. Grace is free. Grace literally cannot have a price tag on it. It can't have a price tag on it because it's unearned. It's undeserved, but it's favor. It's God's favor on us. Salvation cannot be earned through good deeds. There is no amount of good that anyone can do to achieve salvation. Just a fact. There's nothing we can do. It is purely a gift from God. The application here is, when we get saved, your new life is entirely a gift which completely changes how you view yourself. You are not spiritually dead. You are not spiritually unconnected. You are spiritually connected to Jesus Christ through your salvation, and therefore you are not affected by the problems. The do we Are we still going to have problems? Yes, we are. But we're not going to be caught up in all of the what I like to call garbage of the world, because we don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about, am I going to have a wreck and die on my way to work? Because if I do, I'm going to wake up in a whole lot better place. I'm not going to worry about getting in a wreck, and I can tell y'all this because I get in the vehicle with her sometimes, that I'm not scared. But we cannot earn enough mercy. We cannot earn the mercy of God. We cannot work hard enough. We cannot. I love to say this. We cannot work hard enough to make God love us more. And on the flip side, we cannot mess up so badly that He loves us less. He loves us when we're born, the same as He loves us when we die. It's pretty much that simple. Verse 5 declares very clearly, it is by grace you have been saved. Grace means God gave you what you did not deserve. And when we wake up every morning, it's the wind. I hope y'all can still hear us. I'll try to block it off a little bit. The wind is greatly needed here because it's super hot. Not let things fall.
He's tied down.
No, they're not tied down at all. Grace means God gave you what you did not deserve. When we wake up every morning, our identity is no longer defined by the past. It's no longer defined by failures. It's no longer defined by shortcomings. It's your identity. Our life is defined by the fact that we are a child of the Most High King. We are a child of God. We are raised up to walk in a newness with Him every single day. And you know, whatever we do today, when we go to bed, talk to Him about it and say, you know what? If I did something wrong, tell me about it, Lord. Let's work on it. Help me work on it. Help show me what it is. And tomorrow, you're going to wake up and it's going to be a whole new day. It's going to be a whole different day. It's going to have a whole different set of circumstances, a whole different set of problems. I want to emphasize the turning points here. Even though our past and sin separate us from God, His love initiated our rescue. There was no strings attached. The salvation is a gift. It cannot be earned with perfection, but it has to be received with gratitude. A call to surrender. I want to invite everyone, whether you're watching on social media or you're here live, I want to invite you always to leave your burdens, leave your guilt, leave your old lives, and step away. Step into that freedom and step into that resurrection power that is provided by Jesus Christ. Never stay in that defeated state. I come in contact with so many people today that are divided in their own mind. When I say divided, because they're like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, but the problem that they have is that they're stuck in this cycle. I have come in contact with children, even this summer, that I looked at them and I truly believe that they were going to end their life. And I'm like, there's no problem that big. Like, I can't think of one problem that is so big that it's okay. Step into the freedom with Jesus Christ. Step into that with Him. Step into that resurrection power with Him. Pray with Him. Talk with Him. Be with Him. Study with Him. Focus on Him. All of the things. We cannot stress enough at what the importance of His things are. This is our first ever doing this. I hope we get better at it after this. So if y'all have questions, write questions on there and comments. We will try to answer them and we will try to get